two brothers upstairs, and her mother was outside, apparently. So the mother's story.
And I was like, well, if he's really in Hawkins and he's really down there lost and shit, though, I got enough time taking that, whatever. But then things changed.
And she went down in this dark basement to play. She's in a basement by herself while her two brothers allegedly were upstairs, and her mother was outside, apparently.
That's just so far out there. You can't explain that with module and tool bag and power failed ass fucking criminal monsters with failed ass fucking CI module taking fucking those bullshitters. I just don't know. Acquisitions, but this is fucking ludicrous. This is what you got watched on 15th, eh?
Really? Two brothers were there. Summers brothers, the three of them. And two of them were.
Shit, now there's three again. It's magic. These are two brothers and wait, three. I don't know.
Old enough to know if somebody would have been down in that, and she's never been seen again.
Did you just realize you fucked up and then you tried to go back and butterfly that? And be like, oh, but three of them, but two were old enough to. I think all three were old enough to identify if someone not known to the house were in it. If they seen or became aware of such, and that someone was robbing that. How old do you think Summer's youngest brother was at the time, McDonough? Like an infant? You realize Summer was the youngest, right? Even Summer would have been able to what? And recognize one strength. And all their brothers were older. Did you just try to cover your own ass and your own fuck up with the two? Is this what you just did? Did you just pull a Don Wells?
Hi, my name is Dee. Thank you for being here. Jody Sue's forgetting one thing. Chris isn't a suspect in this case. It's funny how the suspects in this case want to blame other people. But Chris McDonough is not a suspect, Jody Sue. You seem to forget that fact. It's you and yours that are suspects.
Was starting to adapt and fill the gaps. And then ultimately, confusion. Remember, they blamed the parents in Michael Vaughn's case, too.
And now you don't make that sense. It's just starting to adapt and then fill the gaps. You know, leakage of water out just running black cracks and not filling gaps. And I need you to stop.
The difference is she's in a basement by herself, and she went down in this dark basement to play while her two brothers allegedly were upstairs, and her mother was outside, apparently. So the mother's story, when she walked her back to the house for that day, when she walked her back into that house that day, her story is she lost sight of her and she's never been seen again.
Well, that wouldn't be her story, and her story ain't she lost sight of her, so she took her back to the house and expected her to be here when she get back. No. That's different than lost sight of. Lost sight of is like, Walmart. Your kid runs the hell off, you lose sight of him, or your kid goes out of view for a second in the park, or that's lost sight of.
See how she nitpicks any little thing in anybody's story? She nitpicks if you say a word wrong or spell a word wrong, like she's some kind of professor or analyzer or expert.
I don't know. That's a bit different than lost sight of. What do you mean for that day? Why are you saying like that would have been? You know what? You just do you, ShamWow one. It's this shit. That's why I don't ever watch this dude.
So we can eliminate the burglar story almost instantaneously because those.
How now can you do that though? And the burglar story isn't Dawn and Candace's. That's your buddy Jensen that all of you are advertising for right now.
This all started, she had 4 Facebook friends. Count them on one hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now she's an expert. I bet she's getting really, really tired of keeping up with everybody's videos and live streams. Huh, Jody Sue? Bet you're getting about tired, huh?
That's his bullshit. Dawn's stuck on a dog trail. Candace is still clueless, I guess. The fuck's fun though. Dawn's also in Russian organ harvesting. I don't know, adrenochrome, Wayfair, Obama did it? We don't know. DCS kidnapped her. But the last I know, Dawn's story was not a burglar. Although, in the beginning, it was like somebody might have been hiding in the basement. And then,
well, I guess you got stuck in the creek, didn't you, Jody Sue? When you were in the creek looking for Summer when you didn't even know she was gone yet. How did you know she was gone?
taking your kid supposedly back to the house while you tended grandma's knee brace or whatever. You pissed him off and he went full tilt dungeon for about 3-4 months, I think. I don't know what enlisted in me or really in the beginning, so I don't know. He has a habit of things pissing him off pretty quick. Taking him off his mind, it's fine. But you know that, right? So anyway, I'm so lost here. You are falsely you're taking Jensen's bullshit and putting it over on Candace Stone like they're the ones saying a burglar right now. Now, unless their teams are the ones feeding that shit out to their tragedy and the Jensen character in order to get shit. Oh, hell.
I know you hate it. There's just more shit you gotta keep up with, huh, Jody Sue? One more person's videos you gotta watch. One more person you gotta check in on.
Well, it did start Brooks. The bullshit Jensen even said didn't make sense. His post didn't add up, blah blah. It's pretty apparent they both have brain cells. Didn't keep him off from going with it though. So Sound about right. Dude's clearly lying about this, that, and the other. Tom's like, blah, 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 blah. And then the rest is history. And leading up to the 15th. Then you got this fuck shit going on up here with certain other characters from Ben Hill. I just don't know. Well, they slipped one in with the whole DCS clears. And everybody can run one of Summer's brothers' faces and continue to. Yeah. Alright. And everything idles down, goes away. Everybody only remembers or talks about Jensen or bullshit center and not. I don't know, goes through certain paperwork, the fine tooth comb. Nobody ever bothers to ask the right questions of anything actually said right now, and all they remember is, oh, cleared about like they remember, well, Lawson said polygraphs taken, but he said still. About like that. Damn. Smooth. But if that's your buddy, bro, Aaron Brooks's and the rest of his group for many years, I don't get it. Some of this Utah Mormon bullshit. It's like a Jorgensen guy or whatever we're awakened to. More Utah and Mormon ties and this bitch. Start to feel ways about it. Especially considering gumball machines out there. They're roaming packs of small vicious children. I hear the demonic can chase people out of state. Ah, well, wonder what Dad knew about that. Hard to tell now he's gone, though, I guess. Nobody tell you. Well, Dad's. Whatever. Be honest, it was like a Utah Mormon religion. Or some sort of media cleansing festival type of shit. Is that? I just don't. You know, these big ass religions, they don't like looking this, do they? Whatever, this is some of the weirdest shit I've ever heard. It's goofy.
The boys were home. They would have been the first one to say, Mom, I hear something in the basement. I think it's a burglar. As soon as she pulls up.
Why would they automatically assume it was a burglar? You're like, this is some zombie level fucking storytelling.
Those two brothers were there. Summers brothers, the three of them. And two of them.
Oh, yeah, so you realize you're fuck up. You went, the three of them. But the two of them. Oh, damn it. You did it.
Were old enough to know if somebody would have been down in that basement.
You did that. That way people think, yeah, it took you said two brothers. And you had that way to explain or later excuse you knew because someone might got in it. And then you're like, oh, but the two were old enough. And that was like, oh, that's why he said two, is because only two were old enough to know what a burglar would sound like. Oh, hey, so he knew there was three. But you realized by that point you fucked up. That's some, I'd love to tell you it's John Mills level shit right there, but he's quicker than you are still. Oh, you gotta be quicker than that, old man.
Why does this chick feel the need to be the expert in the Summer Wells case? It goes beyond obsession with her, way beyond obsession. You know how they say criminals like to come back to the scene of the crime, or to see if the house is burning, or see if the little girl's still lost. I think that's what we have here. Somebody who knows more than they say they do, that keeps wanting to go on and go on and go on. What do y'all think? Leave a comment and let me know, because I'm interested to find out what other people have to think about this. I do know this: if I was Summer's mother or grandmother, and I lived right down the road from Jody Sue, there's no way I would let go on and come out what comes out of Jody Sue's mouth about Summer, and about me if I was Candace, and about Dawn, and about Grandis. And Jody Sue, you really need to change that lipstick color, because that's the same color lipstick you put on Summer in the back seat with that milk jug video. The very same color. The very same lipstick. Might be a different tube, but it's the same brand and the same color. Yep.
Into that house that day. Her story is she lost sight of her, and she's never been seen again. So we can eliminate the burglar story almost instantaneously because those two boys were home. They would have been the first one to say, "Mom, I hear something in the basement. I think it's a burglar." As soon as she pulls up, those two brothers were there. Summers brothers, the three of them. And the water was coming out of the cistern. Because by day 15 and 16, when Karen and I went up there to meet the family, the cistern was starting to adapt and fill the gaps. And then ultimately, confusion. She's in a basement by herself, and she went down in this dark basement to play, while her two brothers allegedly were upstairs, and her mother was outside, apparently. So the mother's story, when she walked her back to the house for that day, when she walked her back into that house that day, her story is she lost sight of her, and she's never been seen again. So we can eliminate the burglar story almost instantaneously because those two boys were home. They would have been the first one to say, "Mom, I hear something in the basement. I think it's a burglar." As soon as she pulls up, those two brothers were there. Summers.
See, that's how you can't. Because you just said as soon as she pulls up, those two brothers.
The three of them. And two of them were old enough to know if somebody would have been down in that basement. And the dog.
It's almost as if you're oblivious to the ages of Summer's brothers. I don't know what kind of cul-de-sac shit this is, but I'd say in the house, probably been like shit. It's my mom and dad's dope ranch, like, you know, I mean, before, and then since it's middle of the woods, raccoon, bear, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Cat, fucking one of the 90 dogs. Who's to say a burglar would make any noise at all? But, did I buy the bullshit about some hand in the basement first? No. But Dawn moved on from that long ago. Dawn was formulating the DCS, stole the children plan, and the dog trail shit. At a certain point, I think after he'd already done somebody waiting in the basement thing, I don't know. It makes no sense. But you're weaving Jensen's bullshit out, not Dawn's. You're weaving in Jensen's and the two brother thing. Why are you doing that? Dawn's still back on the DCS thing again, and possibly the dog trail, because he knows that in front of real media, they don't much like that DCS kidnapped Summer thing. So with real media, he doesn't build that bullshit. So he sticks all the way out of the dog trail. Anyway, I don't know, whatever. But yeah, surely, like, 7 or so is not old enough to identify no noises coming from inside the house that aren't supposed to be there. Yeah, all the brothers are total infants and this and there, and it's like you don't even realize Summer was the youngest. I'm just... Only the two oldest could identify burglars. I love it. It's fucking Don B type bullshit. It's great. It's wonderful.
Dogs were another good point.
Speaking of raccoons.
That is a great point, approachable light. When we pulled up, honey, how many dogs came out of the woods?
If I hear him talk about the goddamn dogs, and him and her and them again.
Didn't we just hear her mention 90 dogs? Not only did she mention the dogs, but she exaggerated them greatly. I've known some crazy ass people in my life, but never one like this.
To 13, at least 10, maybe 11 for sure, if not more.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, some of us up in our little cabin, we heard you being like, oh my god, 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 oh my god. And then almost like you didn't really like dogs, And we almost felt like, I don't know, taking our sick asses that were resting at the time and having some sympathy and moving things around so you could park down there. And then we just decided we didn't give a fuck. And didn't have that type of energy to expend. Plus, we were told by your buddies of our legal search and all that. Anyway, to sort of, it turns out that was bullshittery too, so they could come on here and everybody could do the circuitry apparently and all that, but...
Why in the world would Jody Sue Brown have so much hate in her heart for a 5-year-old girl? Because she does. I don't need no textbook to tell me that. My ears and my eyes tell me that. Jody Sue Brown detests Summer for some reason. And we're going to keep on digging till we find out why, I guess. Because this lady ain't right. There's something wrong. Bad wrong. Bad wrong. She has actual hate for Summer Wells.
Yeah. Imagine if you'd ever actually met all the dogs. But somehow, if the dogs are present, at least part of them, when you and the wife get there weeks later, then that must mean they were all present on the 15th. Right? Is that the narrative? Is that it? And because you all were there weeks later, and you've seen a few of the dogs, and they come right out of the woods on ya, and they barked while you were there, that means on the 15th they were present, and they would have barked at. Well, alright. If you say so. My goodness. Shit. Whatever, dude.
You know, Heather, I don't know if she ever did confirm the candy incident, but
She's tried to belittle and ridicule every Summer Wells creator. If you even mention Summer's name, she's on you like a bulldog. A cookie-chewing bulldog. She's threatened to sue people just for mentioning her children's names.
again, you have to take the entire environment, the circle, okay, into consideration. She's also dealing with another disappearance in her family, her daughter. And
that would be Candace's sister.
Candace's sister.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was definitely necessary information. I love how McDonough sounds shocked like that's the first time he heard it. Like he's like, oh yeah, I remember now. That would mean that it is Candace's sister. Oh. It's all coming back to me now. Shit, what the hell is going on around here?
So let's remember, right? Some of the things that I will not let folks forget. Dawn is a convicted felon.
Okay.
Multiple times. 3 separate prisons, 3 separate states. There was reported information and incidences that put him out of line.
What does that even mean? There are 3 separate states, 3 separate incidences that put him out of line. What line? What is this? What is the wording? What's the point in this extra shit that... Line. Because I'm looking for something and I have missed it here somehow.
With the Cold Case Foundation, biological mother. And it was really interesting. Dad avoided me and avoided us. We spoke to him a couple different times on the phone. Those of you who remember those phone calls where he admitted to his past activities. And I asked him numerous times to connect with me. Let's sit down. I was up there. I really wanted to help his family because his position was that she was taken. And I was open-minded, still am, to wanting to just communicate. I think I've offered probably 100 times to help, at least. I mean, that's an exaggerated number, but a lot. And it wasn't taken up. We even went to the sheriff's department to introduce ourselves with the Cold Case Foundation. Spoke to the public information officer there in the lobby. And Hawkins County did not want to have the Cold Case Foundation come in and help. Now, here's a comparison.
Okay, see now, McDonough, this is where we have a problem. This is where I have questions. This is where I'd like the TBI or FBI or let anybody release a state. I don't care. I have questions right now. Lawson, somebody. If you're saying that you did this while you were in town, right after Summer's brothers were taken, which was not David, anyway. And Hawkins said no, we don't want your help. And then blah blah or the cold case, you know. And then pieces were done in the media calling you a YouTuber. Apparently. And then quite a long time after, you then come back into town, do some really weird shit. Let alone that weird shit, I don't know, around the fake Fed era. And Discords. But what you tell some of us a long time after all that, of course. And you divert every time when you're asked about why is it being said that you were the one having this group and etc. Blah 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 blah. Be the ones to follow us, and then they attempted to use fake and bullshit instead of build some more blackmail bullshit with like, oh, but when we become this should stay on summer and and you divert like, well, pretty quickly, not as quick as Dawn can though, but yeah, you did that. All I asked for was honesty, man. A human, right? Yeah. And when you pick up on motherfuckering with you, I don't know. And there ain't no need to. But it's like I've said in interviews, it's like, anyway, my point here is that if you're saying you went and offered and talked to Lawson and whoever else, and that...
Do you know what this is? This is one toxic human being. Toxic and maybe radioactive too. It's a possibility.
That was when you spoke to Candace Dawn. They declined your services or your help. Well, the secretary here did, and not even lost himself. But then what you did was a very long time later, the whole showing up at the wrong oncology play, all the shit that was weird, promising things you couldn't even begin to provide. in order to try to get everyone. And then you, buddy, you, and Shadow that was definitely in the background and such there. You told me outright you were working with Lawson and police. I believe basically all of them, right? But you were definitely working with Lawson. You were dropping off things too. You were doing this and da da da. And people around you and your team, damn sure were doing the same and swearing they've seen things from you that were absolutely positive proof that you were working with. Now, when you came here, and you did your fuck shit, and I could tell what you're doing, but I was like, man, you're just one of those. Still willing to try to overlook shit.
She'll run her mouth behind that icon, but I bet you she won't tell Chris this stuff to his face. I bet on it.
But, you know, your whole waiting game, because, I don't know, that just does it for me. I guess you think that builds a suspense for others, or somebody sus. They're gonna be like, oh god, this super time gonna be face. They're making me wet. You know that pins and needles game.
Jody Sue, that's one of your tactics. Keep us listening to your mumbling live stream for 6 hours just to get one little bit of breadcrumb, one little bit of sentence. That's one of your tactics. Try to keep everybody on pins and needles. These are seasoned, retired detectives. They know what they're doing. You've never been a detective. You ever been to a safety meeting? A company safety meeting? No, we're not talking about a pole dancer safety meeting either.
But I guess that's what you're doing. You're like, well, I'm gonna go out. We're going Hawkins. Like, whatever, man. And then one of my family members was actually sick because, you know, things that are none of your goddamn business, but very serious life conditions. Yeah. But either way, I think you thought it was bullshit, but I was also sick, and I was like, fuck this dude. I'm not being fucked with by you. And I was like, well, if he's really in Hawkins and he's really down there lost and shit, though, I got enough time taking that, whatever. But then things changed. I guess I've only ever really seen done on TV. Really. My members ended up being taken, but all these things ended up happening. And I guess you thought I was bullshitting you pulling your leg because I was a little scaredy pants up your shit, right? No, sir. And I was being honest with you. Absolutely 100% honest. You just can't stop your stupidness and think outside of, I don't know, Miami fucking Vice, cocaine cowboy bullshit, or whatever it is your fucking bender is.
She's still talking about Chris McDonough. I think there's alcohol in her cup. What do y'all think?
And even though I was seeing your bullshit, I was still being sincere and genuine with you. I was trying to give your ass a chance. And then as soon as you realize that I'm taking that and all this stuff's going, I guess you thought, oh, me, we'll be here in just a minute. We're 5 minutes from it. I'm sitting there going, how dumb does this motherfucker think I am? And then see, that's my key that you were lying about being where you were, because we locals know exactly how long that drive would take you. And and you said you were in a meeting with and going to meet with all this little shit, man. But then as soon as I'm like, well, if it's gonna take that long, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And you're like, oh, well.
What is it to you, Jody Sue? About Chris. He didn't come to town to see you, Jody Sue. He came to see Candace and Don. You know what? You're one of the most ill people I've ever seen. You need help. You need real help. 'Cause you're acting like Summer Wells belonged to you or something. I'm still trying to figure that part out. That's the part that bothers me. And I'm scared to look under those covers.
Man, we're just 5 minutes. What? And it's been like minutes. You were just playing stupid TV games, man. That we're not. And then that's when I'm like, fuck this shit, right? And then you were trying to get that shit before, what? You had to cough up anything you lied about being able to do because you didn't have that capability, let alone like in that sleight of hand shit, that phone number. You and your group agreeing that shit. Like, bro.
How many of y'all out there think and believe with all your heart that Jody Sue has obstructed the Summer Wells case? She's tried to derail it. She's tried to flip it over. She's tried to destroy it. How many of y'all out there really believe that in your heart? I do. I raise my hand right now. I believe it. I know it. I've seen it and I've heard it. This lady is sick. I don't know what her stake is in the Summer Wells case, but she seems to think she has a big stake in it. Attention, Sullivan County, you might want to pay attention to this one.
And Don B, who was your boy too, by the way. Let's not forget that. He stalked the shit out of Kansas and everything else. So, I'm just saying. If, though, what you're saying last night is true, and let me remind you what you said to me in this recording. That, from back on that, etc., in some sort of tone that at least sounded like it to me, it was, you better answer the phone from now on when I call. You better not, and man, I just missed Scott wasn't like it. And we'd already talked like, and then you know, from now on when I call, you better answer. You better, or like it was a threat for sure, overtone, and like you were a real cop and really could have something done to me if type of tone.
Woman stepping up, defending what appears to be like her son, and it's not. Summer's blonde, kind of wavy, and not blonde like my hair, natural blonde. Seeing her at people for thinking that it's her family member, and this to me feels like a child. So she's defending a child over here.